Chairman Schwetner, Vice Chairman King, distinguished members. I'm Larry Linenschmidt, speaking as an individual. I'm Executive Director of the Hill Country Institute, a faith-based Christian nonprofit, and a volunteer with the Citizens Climate Lobby, along with 11,000 other Texans. I request you direct the PUCT to include the importance of the reduction of pollution and heat trapping emissions in market design. More extreme temperatures, as discussed in the 2024 Texas Climatologist Extreme Weather Report, point to increased electricity demand as our temperatures are continuing to increase. It is becoming ever more important to prioritize slowing temperature increases by reducing the emissions of heat-trapping gases. Because carbon capture, the industry has indicated the technology is proven and available for wide-scale deployment. Please include in the grant and loan program for dispatchable generation provisions to require carbon capture on new power plants. Market design updates should also include demand-side opportunities to incentivize personal local energy independence, investments by energy efficiency, demand response, and distributed energy resources. Consumers will save money by using less electricity, and the grid will benefit from reduced peak demands. The PUCT should explore additional rulemaking that will improve transmission infrastructure to reduce transmission congestion. I recommend this committee request $2 million in biennial funding for ERCOT and $2 million for the Texas PUCT to develop and maintain a climate action plan. The inability of the grid in the Houston area to withstand a weak hurricane is the latest proof our transmission infrastructure needs hardening. Our state is a place where winter storms can shut down large parts of the grill, a weak hurricane can cripple the largest city, and downed power lines cause prairie fires. Please require transmission lines to be hardened to meet the expected regional stresses of the high-risk areas identified in the Texas Climatologist Report on extreme weather. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Linenschmidt. Members' questions? Thank you. Mr. Linenschmidt.
Chairman Schwertner, distinguished members, thank you again for the opportunity to testify. It's becoming more and more important to prioritize innovative energy sources that do not emit heat-trapping gases when generating electricity. These would include enhanced geothermal, small nuclear reactors, technologies to capture emissions before they enter the atmosphere, and further improvements with advanced storage technologies that will facilitate further expansion of low-cost deployments of wind and solar. Therefore, I request that you introduce and pass legislation that directs state agencies to prioritize innovative generation that doesn't produce heat-trapping emissions. Remember the clean air issues Texas faces. Yesterday, TCEQ asked drivers in Austin and San Antonio to not drive into restaurant drive-in lanes due to ozone pollution. Natural gas-fired generation adds to ozone pollution. Regarding comments earlier today on subsidies for energy, I suggest all subsidies be eliminated for a level playing field. And per Melton Friedman, pollution or damage to the commons should be taxed. Subsidies to eliminate include accelerated ITC for oil and gas drilling and the depletion allowance. Fossil fuel use should include a fee for pollution to cover health costs incurred due to air pollution. These adjustments will correct market distortions and move towards a free energy market for energy. I realize there are other subsidies. Let's take them all out. But let's take out the oil and gas first. Thank you for the opportunity to testify again. I welcome the opportunity to visit with you and your staff.
You knew the question was coming. That's funny. Love it.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Go ahead, Mr. Linenschmidt.
Well, there were three.
There are three, yes.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Thank you.
You're correct.
Sorry, I know it's so late, but gosh, it's been a long wait. So, Chairman Schwertner, distinguished members, thank you again for the opportunity to address you. Texas faces an unprecedented crisis in property and casualty insurance. Carriers are reducing coverage, raising deductibles, declining coverage in parts of the state, and raising premiums. Increased rates and reduced coverage from private insurers will exacerbate the cost of insurer of last resort options in Texas. The chart that's part of the testimony, has been my testimony, is from the Texas Department of Insurance. It documents the increase in recent years. Since 2020, average property and casualty insurance premiums have increased by over 40% for Texas homeowners. And some of you are business owners, and you're paying those increased premiums too. Hopefully you've got this chart. It's straight off of you, that answers one of the questions you were asking earlier today. One of your other questions, or someone's question, I believe we're fourth according to the Texas Realtor in terms of our insurance premium costs. As reported by the Texas 2036 article referenced here, Texas has the most billion-dollar disasters of any state. In the April 2024 extreme weather report, which I reference frequently, the Texas state climatologist notes a concerning acceleration in extreme weather conditions across the state. Studies on Hurricane Harvey indicated it was 10% stronger due to climate change. It's not surprising that insurance premiums are rising to offset higher damage claims. Insurance companies have indicated the two primary reasons premiums are rising are inflation and climate change. I encourage you to establish longer-term climate risk mitigation strategies will help Texas reduce emissions of heat-trapping gases so that we can stop increasing those greenhouse gas emissions. Texas can flourish in a reduced greenhouse gas environment. I request this committee recommend $2 million in biannual funding for the Texas Department of Insurance to develop and maintain a climate action plan that is updated every 2 years. I also encourage you to recommend updating building codes to reflect wind, flooding, and wildfire risk in high-risk areas identified in the Texas State Climatologist report. Rates should be increased for TWIA to cover the full cost of claims to avoid the moral hazard of encouraging people to live in areas where insurance is declined by private sources and requires government subsidies. AM Best reports of substantial underfunding in rates paid by insureds now. Thank you again for the opportunity to address you.
Thank you, Mr. Linenschmidt, for your testimony.